All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Hubner. I'm the admissions director here at OLP, and I am so pleased to have you here tonight to hear from our academic department chairs and program directors. We are just so pleased that they are able to be here with us tonight and share a little bit with you about our academic program, which is obviously a vital and most important aspect of our school. So I will go ahead and start by kicking off with this video, and then I will turn it over to our theology department chair, along with our service learning and retreat director. So here we go.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Hubner. I'm Brian Martin Spencer, Theology Department Chair, and like Dr. Leck just typed, getting a little emotional seeing everybody hugging and longing for those days when we can really come back together with some normalcy. Maybe never totally normal again, but at least moving in that direction. So as you can see from the video, we really promote sisterhood through the lens of our Catholic faith and the charisms of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. And there definitely is an academic component to that. Students have to take 8 semesters of theology over the course of their 4 years. And as you can see in our mission statement, we focus on Jesus Christ as our Savior, as our model, and journeying with students from freshman year all the way through senior year for how they can embody Christ's love in their own lives, and then share that love of Christ out with our local OLP community, our local San Diego community, and even seeking to radiate that out to our world. So as you can see, from the video, liturgies are a very important part of our faith experience at OLP. Service is a hugely important part, as well as retreats. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about in these next few minutes. And we have 2 students joining us, Emma Hernandez and Adamari Davila. So if you have questions for insights from the student perspective, they'll be able to share that as well. So Mrs. Hubner, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So we really value and celebrate diversity. We welcome students from all backgrounds, all faith traditions, including students who may not have a faith tradition. Many of our students do come from Catholic elementary schools, but we design our courses, especially at the freshman level, to where we don't expect students to have any prior knowledge. So students coming from public schools or non-religiously affiliated private schools are not at a disadvantage. We really want to create that sense of equal sisterhood. The students from Catholic schools may know a little bit of the material at the beginning of freshman year, but we invite them to share that and to be almost peer mentors as they're journeying at the beginning of freshman year. And we, from the academic perspective, don't grade students on their personal faith journey, or we don't grade students on the extent to which they agree with what the Catholic Church teaches. We do promote what our Catholic Church teaches, and students are responsible for learning that and reflecting on that and being able to articulate that. But their personal agreement, so to speak, doesn't affect their grade. If a student is an atheist or is really questioning or not sure where she's at with her journey with her faith, she could get 100% in our classes as long as she's being honest and considering the questions we're posing and diving into the experience that we're offering in terms of reflections and discussion. So we really try to create a safe environment in our classrooms where students respect each other, they lift each other up. We encourage students to be courageous and vulnerable, to ask questions, and to journey together with us teachers as guides. And we teachers feel very privileged and honored to journey with students on their faith journey. And oftentimes, we teachers learn so much from the students with that mutual sharing and dialogue and discussion and reflection. So it's sometimes there's a circular aspect instead of just, we teachers don't say, we have all the answers and here they are, right? We're questioning, we're journeying, we're discussing, we're reflecting together through the lens of our Catholic faith. You can go ahead to the next slide, Ms. Hubner. So here's a snapshot of our courses. As I said, all 8 semesters at OLP have a theology course. The first 2 years are set. There's no electives. So freshman year, students would take Christian morality and Old Testament, where they're learning the roots of our faith, the foundation of what our church teaches and why, in terms of the best way we can live our lives. As I mentioned earlier, trying to live out the love of Christ and to spread Christ's love with our dear neighbors without distinction. We seek to promote unifying love. Those are 2 of the major charisms of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. And then sophomore year, students build on what they learned freshman year, diving into the New Testament and learning more specifically about the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, as well as learning more about our church and how our church carries forward Christ's mission in our world today through sacraments, through service, through trying to live as a disciple, a follower of Christ. And again, through this journey, if students are not Catholic or they're having questions, as long as they're putting in the effort, they can totally succeed academically. And we hope there'll be personal growth as well, but that's more of an invitation. In junior year, there's a required social justice class where students take everything they've learned freshman and sophomore year and apply it to current issues in our country and in our world today. For example, looking at issues about the dignity of human life, really important current issues like racism or sexism, looking at poverty and workers' rights, both here in the United States and around the world, looking at the environment. Again, all that is through a Catholic lens, but we really encourage students to bring their own perspectives, to bring their own questions, and we find that creates really beautiful, honest dialogue. And then as you can see, there are electives where for the second semester, junior year, and then both semesters, senior year, students get to choose from a wide variety, as you can see. Liturgical planning is a class where students plan the liturgies, some of which you saw in the video at the beginning. Discipleship is an exclusively senior elective class where students plan the retreats for all 4 grade levels, and Mrs. Wilson will be talking a little bit more about that. And then, we have really popular electives such as Women in the Church, comparative cultures, where students look at other faith traditions and dialogue between the Catholic Church and those other faith traditions. So Mrs. Huber, you can go to the next slide. And as I wrap up and prepare to pass it on to Mrs. Wilson, we do have liturgies once a month. Now it's through Zoom, but as you saw, we use our event center pre-COVID, where there's a lot of joy and sisterhood. Also pre-COVID, we're hoping to get back to this. We have 2 Tuesday morning masses per month that are optional. We have Lenten and Advent reconciliation services where priests come to campus and students have an opportunity to experience the sacrament of reconciliation. And we also have some prayer services throughout the year. So that's a snapshot of more of the academic side of the theology department, and we work very closely with our campus ministry team. We are effectively one team with different focuses, but I'll pass it off to Mrs. Wilson now.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Wilson, and at OLP, I have the honor of serving as the Service Learning and Retreats Director. So I am excited to talk to you this evening about some of our programming. And as Ryan mentioned, we work extremely close with the theology department and are continuously partnering on the academic side of theology and the experiential part of our students and their faith development. So we truly highlight leadership roles for our students to grow and share their faith over their 4 years at OLP. As Ryan mentioned, with some of our upper class theology electives, as well as some of our student clubs that are geared towards service, which you'll get to hear from a club leader this evening, as well as our service and immersion program, where we invite students to have leadership roles as well. And as we do at OLP, everything is from the lens of unifying love, that CSJ charism, and really focusing on our dear neighbors and how we can serve them the best that we can. So as we move on to our retreat program, we have a really unique retreat program at OLP, and it is basically a pause on all academic life. So this takes place the first week back from second semester after the holidays. And it's an entire week that is just dedicated to social and emotional and spiritual wellness for not only our students, but also our faculty and staff who fully participate in this experience. And so each grade level retreat is completely planned, led, facilitated by our senior mentors in the discipleship course, and each grade level retreat builds on the next. And so in a typical pre-COVID experience, the senior retreat would end with a 3-day, 2-night experience away from San Diego. So we're really looking forward to this year. We're getting creative, mixing both virtual and socially distanced experiences for our students to still gather and really spend that time to focus on sisterhood, community, as well as how their own faith is supporting them during this extremely challenging year. So the bulk of our retreats happen that entire week. Like we said, there's no class, no sports practice. Everything is focused on faith and spiritual growth. And we also have some other retreats sprinkled throughout the year, like our CSJ Leadership Conference, which is a conference where we gather with all 4 CSJ high schools in California. And we actually had a virtual session today where we met with students from all 4 girls' schools and just really talked about what the charism means to our students and how they're living it out in their daily life. Next, I'm going to touch on our service learning program. And as Ryan mentioned, everything we do is really rooted in that Catholic social teaching, focusing on the dignity and humanity of those that we're serving, and really encouraging our girls to step out of their comfort zones and really connect with those that they're serving and embark on what it means to stand in solidarity with those who are going through personal challenges. So here's a few pictures from some of our service events. The girls in the top corner are serving breakfast on Skid Row at the largest shelter on Skid Row. And then these other two pictures are from some of our international immersions in both Nicaragua and Peru. Next slide, please. So each of our students are encouraged to pursue their own service opportunities every single school year. We have a service requirement where each student does a minimum of 25 service hours every school year. And our girls usually go above and beyond. This is not a requirement to them. They truly find organizations that they're passionate about and want to continue volunteering. So just to show you a little bit about that, the last academic school year that we've counted service hours, OLP students completed over 38,000 service hours, which breaks down to an average of 50 hours per student, which is double the minimum requirement. So that just kind of shows you the passion and the love and the care that our girls bring to these experiences that are outside of the classroom and on their own time. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned a little bit in the pictures before, we also have a robust service immersion program where throughout the year we have opportunities to travel as an OLP community and experience different parts of not only our country domestically, but also internationally. So as we know, this is currently on pause with COVID, but we look forward to the day where we can bring these opportunities back to our students. So in the past couple years, we've traveled to Los Angeles, Washington, DC to focus on advocacy and policy creation, rural West Virginia, as well as international trips to Central America and South America. We also volunteer once a month in Tijuana, which one of our student leaders will get to share about next. Next slide, please. And to round us off, I just wanted to share about some of our campus clubs and how we bring service opportunities to our students through the club lens. So we have several clubs on campus that focus solely on serving our community. And two of those clubs are our Give Club, which stands for Get Involved, Value Everyone. And this club hosts monthly service opportunities where girls who might not have found out what they're passionate about yet can come and volunteer with other OLP students. So this year, this club has focused their service on Noah Homes, which is a group home for adults with developmental disabilities, as well as a partnership with the City Heights Housing Corporation, where our girls assist at an after-school tutoring program. And like many things, the tutoring program is currently on pause, but our girls are finding ways to be creative. And just for our Halloween, they did a whole donation drive on hygiene supplies, and all of the supplies were sent to the City Heights Housing Corporation. So even though they are not being able to do direct service at the moment, our girls are extremely caring and creative in ways that they're still continuing to give back to our community. Another really special club we have is the Hogar Infantil La Gloria Club, where we partner with St. Augustine's High School for our monthly visits to the Hogar Infantil Orphanage in Tijuana. And we actually have our club leader for that club on the Zoom tonight. So I am going to turn it over to her and let her share a bit about her experience. So we'll get her highlighted in just a second, as well as Emma.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Martin Spencer. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight all of you. So we'd love to, was Adamary going to say something?
Yeah, so I would love to hear from Adamary on just how she's getting creative in the times of COVID, what they're planning for this weekend to still connect with the children at the orphanage who they've developed quite significant relationships and friendships with. And then her experience as a senior mentor. And I'd love to hear from Emma just a little bit about liturgical planning and her role with ASB this year. So Adamary, you can take it away.
Okay, I would like to go first just because Adamary's computer isn't working.
Perfect, thank you.
So this year my role for ASB is the mission and ministry commissioner. So I'm sorry, my Siri keeps going off when I talk. Okay, so my role is every day, well, Mondays and Tuesdays for my cohort, I say morning prayer. And I really truly feel prayer is supposed to be meant from the heart, not just something that you look up on the internet. So I handwrite all my prayers. I have a little book that I use. I write all my morning prayers from the heart. And I also say prayer for end of the day prayer. And I think it really connects the students with their faith because they know when a prayer is written from the heart and not just, just like something generic. So I truly love, that's part of my ASB job. And that's what I truly love. And this year, second semester, I will be in the liturgical planning class for a second time. I took it my first semester last year. And it's truly something I really love because I have been doing altar serving and like sacristan duties at my own parish ever since I was like in 4th grade. And so I truly learned a lot, and I brought it to OLP and Mr. Martin Spencer when he asked me to help him out on mass and all that stuff. And yeah, I love it. Oh, I hear myself. Okay. But yeah, I just truly love pouring my faith into everyone. And I love when students come and ask me questions about faith because I feel like I can answer them truthfully and wholeheartedly. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Emma. We appreciate hearing from you.
Are you guys able to hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. My computer froze right when you guys were spotlighting me, so it was very hectic. I'm one of the leaders for Hogar Infantil, and it's a club that I've been in since my freshman year. I've always enjoyed going to the orphanage. Our main goal is we go to the orphanage once a month with a group of girls from OLP and from Saints, and we visit these amazing kids who eventually you just start connecting with. So we play activities with them, and then we also go to mass with them at the orphanage, and it's just overall an awesome experience. I have a few kids who know me now at the orphanage, so we've really gotten the chance to just bond there, and it's just a community setting, so it's definitely something I would recommend to anyone.
And Adamary, can you share just briefly about your plans for the programming on Friday?
Oh yeah, so on Friday we're gonna have a Zoom meeting with the kids from the orphanage because obviously right now with COVID, we're not really allowed to travel. And so on Friday, leadership sort of got together and planned a small get together on Zoom so that girls from OLP, guys from Saints, and everyone at the orphanage can join in, and we're gonna set up some activities that everyone's gonna have like access to at their home. So we're hoping to get everyone together, even if it is through Zoom.
Thank you so much, Adamary.
Thank you all so much. For those of you that joined us a little late, we did have a little technical difficulty, so we started a few minutes late. So I would like to open up some questions for our theology department, campus ministry, and service learning. So those of you that are joining us as guests, if you'd like to type any questions in the chat, I'd like to give a couple minutes for either our students or for Mr. Martin Spencer or Mrs. Wilson to answer any questions you might have. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, Emma, could you speak a little bit to your theology classes, maybe the choices that you made in your junior and senior year?
Of course. So next semester, I would have taken all of the religion classes offered at OLP except for discipleship. And in all of my classes that I've taken there, I truly did learn a lot about our faith and religion. But yeah, in a sense, they all tie together with our CSJ mission. And I truly think that if a student goes by that mission and lives her life out every day, I think she will thrive at OLP and in her future college classes if she does choose to go down that road. So yeah.
Thank you. It does look like we have one question, and then thank you, Mrs. Wilson, for typing in your email addresses. So if you think of any questions following this program. But there is one question: which retreats are available to Frosh? So Mrs. Wilson, maybe you could answer.
Yeah, so in January of retreat week, we have the specific Frosh retreat, which is geared towards solely the freshman class. And then all of our additional optional retreats are open to all 4 grade levels. With some of our service immersions that are open to upperclassmen. For example, our Los Angeles service immersion is for juniors and seniors, but other than that, really all of our experiences are open for all 4 grade levels.
And just quickly, Mrs. Wilson, and then we'll let you all go and we'll move on to our next segment. But are there any ideas for community service with COVID restrictions? I'm sure our students have gotten very creative.
Yeah, so with the COVID restrictions, typically we would really highly encourage our students to do direct service where they are face-to-face with the populations that they are serving. And obviously that's not as possible right now. So we are encouraging all forms of service, whether you are helping out a grandparent or a neighbor or tutoring a cousin on Zoom who lives in Arizona. We're really open to just any opportunity for our girls to give back and make a positive difference.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So again, Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Martin Spencer's email addresses are there in the chat. You all are welcome to stay on, but if you would like to get on with your evening, you are also free to go. So thank you all, Theology, Campus Ministry, and Service Learning for joining us. And we will move on to our English, Social Studies, and World Languages.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I will go ahead and share my screen again. And I turn it over to Dr. Gashow.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Gashow, and I have the honor of serving as the English Department Chairperson and Instructional Practices and Tech Integration Director. And this is my fabulous English department. We wanted to celebrate the love of reading as we do with all things. And so these are a fabulous team of teachers who inspire the girls to read and embrace English in every way, shape, and form. Next slide, please. So the mission of the English department is really rooted in the CSJ charisms. We look to integrate reading, writing, thinking critically, listening, speaking, and technology as we do this. One of the ways that we've integrated the charisms in our curriculum is through our summer reading program. Every grade level reads a book that the department has selected that is rooted in one of the charisms. So as freshmen, they read Warriors Don't Cry to study the ideas and concepts behind what it means to be a woman of heart. Sophomore year, they read a book called A Hope More Powerful Than the Sea about a Syrian refugee and how she survives days stranded at sea in order to examine what it means to be a woman of faith. Junior year, they read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings to examine the charism of being a woman of courage. And then when they come to be seniors, they read a book called The Nightingale, which actually features our CSJ sisters in the book. And all of the charisms are there. And so it's a really beautiful kind of progression and culmination of the charisms through our curriculum. Next slide, please. So the courses that we offer in English are, we give them a really solid foundation in the 9th grade level, and they can take a written test and a standardized test to determine whether or not they're ready to move into an honors program or our standard college prep. After that, they have the option of moving in their 10th grade year into either world literature, continuing on a college prep track, or if they start in a college prep track and really develop their skills and show a dedication to English, move to world literature honors. All of our 10th graders take speech and debate, and we also offer an elective of speech and debate honors. 11th grade year, we offer American Literature Honors in our first AP course, AP Language and Composition. And then 12th grade year, we give them quite a few options. And some take multiple. They can take a combination of any of our semester-long courses, which are Creative Writing 1 and 2, Dystopian Literature, Film as Literature, Holocaust Literature, Women's Literature Seminar, or they can take a full year of British Literature, AP Literature. Sometimes we have students who are really passionate about English and they take more than that. So it's a really great and robust opportunity for them as they are seniors. Next slide, please. One of the things that we really try and do in the English department is connect what they are learning to the world outside. And this happens in a multiple of capacities. But one of the highlights of seeing that come to fruition was our Butterfly Project dedication last year. In the Holocaust literature, they study the Holocaust, obviously, and they read poems of children who were incarcerated in Terezin, and then they create a butterfly that is dedicated to a child who authored one of those poems. So we try and find a number of ways in our classes to help them connect the themes of the literature to the real world. Next slide, please. We also do this through our clubs. A lot of clubs that we have on campus have come out of the interest of students in our classes. One of our clubs, we have the Children's Literature Project, where students work from the beginning of the semester with St. Vincent de Paul's, and they get to know the children at St. Vincent de Paul's, and then they author a children's book for them. And then it is given to the children, and a copy is given to St. Vincent de Paul's to stay in their library. So we're helping to promote literacy within the community. We have a writing club that they just celebrate writing in a lot of different ways. Many of them contribute their works to our annual literary magazine, which has been ranked number 6 in California. And we have a Shakespeare club and a speech and debate team who's also quite successful. Next slide, please. Some of the ways that we embrace literature is we really try and offer fun opportunities and then also rigorous opportunities, because we know that students who are passionate about reading and writing and are inspired to commit to it will succeed. And so this is one of our freshman English teachers, Mrs. Favela, and she did something which was called a book tasting, where students went around and they sampled a different book at each table based on genre and played around with looking at the menu. And then after their tastings, they selected a book that they would commit to for the year. And they had a lot of fun doing this. Next slide, please. And beginning in their freshman year and culminating in their senior year, we really try and foster academic discussion centered on what they're reading. So we do something called Socratic seminars, which you might have heard me talk about in the open house video. But really the idea is it's a synthesis of reading, writing, reflection, and that culminates in an academic dialogue that helps students really prepare to think critically about what they're learning and take that to the next level when they move on to college. And I think now it's time to pass it off to world languages.
Thank you, Dr. Gacho. All right. Hi, I'm Alma Kim. I have the honor of serving as the World Languages Chair. And this is my wonderful team of teachers. Ms. Malheiros, a Spanish teacher, Mr. Moreno, Ms. Vasconcelos, Ms. Rayner, our French teacher, and Mr. Wyatt, and our Spanish teacher as well. And I want to introduce you to our mission, also founded and grounded in the CSJ charism, where we want to foster through the teaching of our languages for students to be culturally sensitive, globally aware, socially tolerant, and this with the heart and conscience grounded in the CSJ charism. And moving on to our courses offered. So first of all, when students enter OLP, there's a language placement. And based on the student's proficiency in this language placement is the track that they take upon entry at OLP. They have the choice of selecting between American Sign Language, French, and Spanish. And once they select a language based on that language placement they enter with, they can start either at beginning level. For example, in Spanish, if they place in beginning level, they would start in Spanish 1, but they have also the option of placing at a higher level, depending on their proficiency level. And for Spanish specifically, they have the option of, if they are a native speaker, joining that track where native speakers usually start at a Spanish 3 level with native honors, and then move up from there. So Spanish, we have levels all the way from level 1 to AP Spanish Literature and Culture. ASL, we also offer as American Sign Language, and that runs all the way from level 1 to level 3. And this coming year, we're offering a level 3 honors course. And for French, we also have offerings of all the way from level 1 to AP French. And there is a requirement of 2 years of the same language for graduation. And I would like to highlight in the next slide our ASL course, our ASL courses, which are basically our students are introduced and to develop nonverbal communication. They're acquainted with the deaf culture, with community, attend ASL events. And here in this slide, we're just highlighting a little bit of the expression of the language through art. These are some of the art projects that our students are doing this year. And Go React is one of the tools that our teacher, Ms. Vasconcelos, uses in her classrooms as a way of fostering the feedback, the timely feedback with timed comments, and also the collaboration among students. So this is our ASL courses. And then the next I would like to highlight also is French. So we've had to reinvent a lot during these COVID times, and a lot of the collaboration continues through different forms. So in some of the projects, they've used several platforms to continue with those collaborations, and we've used all this technology, and we're lucky enough to have all these resources to continue collaboration and foster the communication, the oral communication, as well as the written through the use of all of these resources. And here we're highlighting a couple of the projects for our French students that were done this year. That a lot of them are having to do with technology. Some of the one in the bottom right-hand corner from our French students, and just highlighting a lot of authentic resources that are incorporated into the classes as well. The one on the left bottom corner, a postcard targeting specific grammar and also introducing them to culture, embedding them into the culture. And our next slide is highlighting a little bit of the experiences that students have in the Spanish classes. So some of them are from past years, highlighting a lot of the cultural projects, immersing them in the different celebrations, and some of the projects here are highlighting Hispanic Heritage Month. This year's projects actually in the technological side, the virtual altars that were done, and some of the Zoom sessions, and displaying of different backgrounds and integrating technology and creative and innovative ways that we've had to proceed with. And then besides our classes, OLP also offers many opportunities and clubs, like some that have already been highlighted, specific to the languages. Some of the clubs that are fostering language and culture are the Spanish Honor Society and the French Honor Society, which allows students to show their passion for language through a length of the high school, through their 4 years of high school, and then upon graduation, have the opportunity to display their interest of the language with the court at graduation. And we also have the French Club, which gives students the opportunity to practice their language and their passion for the culture as well. And then the Ballet Folklorico, which displays dances from the Mexican culture, where students, no matter what their background or their experience, have the opportunity to learn and to choreograph part of the dances and learn about the culture as well. And I believe I am going to pass it on to Ms. Devereaux for the Social Sciences Department. Thank you.
All right, great job, Mrs. Kim. Mrs. Huebner, can you hear me okay? Excellent. All right. So I want to start by giving a big welcome from the Social Science Department. I'm Emily Devereaux. I'm an alumna of OLP and serving as its current department chair. You'll see here on the slide my wonderful colleagues. They include Carolyn Williams, Chris Mahler, Sean Hanley, and Kristen Bush. And we're all huge history nerds, and we're looking forward to really igniting in your daughters a love of the social sciences. So next, let's look at our mission statement. Perfect. Thanks, Mrs. Huebner. So the mission of our department is really to help learners foster an appreciation for the past while guiding them to become independent thinkers and problem solvers. Specifically, our students develop historical thinking and historical writing skills, including how to conduct research, perform document analysis, engage in civil discourse or polite conversations, and employ effective argumentation within the context of history and social science. In the spirit of OLP's philosophy, we aim to produce global citizens who are politically engaged, socially aware, and really poised to transform the world. Next, let's view the courses that we offer in social science. So your daughter has the option of taking world history in 9th grade, or taking either world history or AP world history in 10th grade. The option of taking either US history or AP US history in 11th grade, and taking in 12th grade either economics or economics honors, and government or AP government. And we also offer really wonderful electives. The first one is American Identity. It's actually race, gender, and class, but I couldn't fit it all on the slide. American Issues of the 20th and 21st Centuries, AP Psychology, Herstory, Women in American History, Mock Trial Psychology, Sports Psychology, and last but not least, a very popular elective called Trending Topics, where they explore topics in the news. I would just sort of, just for a moment, Mrs. Huebner, if I could just explain why some students take AP and honors level courses. So I would say that, you know, AP and honors level courses are definitely taught at an accelerated pace. So the curricula are in alignment with the College Board and the AP exam. The courses really do on their own serve as preparation for the content and skills required on the AP exam. And I would say that it requires either average or above average executive functioning. So things like short-term memory, organization, self-control, and time management. And I would say that most of my colleagues in my department, including myself, we require independent note-taking. So that's kind of a biggie when it comes to history. Also, honors and APs are really for those students who want to challenge themselves in our disciplined area, want to showcase rigor or interest to colleges and universities in the social sciences, and want the chance to earn college credit while in high school, which many of our girls do. So on the next slide, we'll actually look at our department's academic teams. And so here on the left, we have Model United Nations, and on the right, we have Mock Trial. These are two really excellent options for extracurricular engagement outside of the social science classroom. So both are academic teams. They meet throughout the school year. Their competition is in the spring. Their competitions are actually simulations. So Model UN is a simulation of the UN General Assembly, and Mock Trial of a criminal or civil trial. These students on these teams develop all sorts of really, really important hard and soft skills. So things like public speaking, negotiation, critical thinking, persuasive argumentation. And then specifically on Model UN, our students serve as ambassadors or delegates to this Model UN conference for a particular country. They prepare speeches and deliver them at this 2-day conference, which is at the moment online, but will resume hopefully in the very near future. Analyze resolutions. One will always be on the environment, another on human rights. They caucus with ambassadors from other countries. They try to essentially come to some sort of consensus. On Mock Trial, they play the roles of attorney, bailiff, and witnesses. They prepare arguments for the defense and the prosecution, and they develop characterization for each of those witnesses. So if you ask anybody on these teams, these students are really, really committed, and not only because it's really fun, but they just learn so much. So next we'll explore one more extracurricular option sponsored by the Social Science Department, and that is our newest offering, and it is the History Book Club. So it was founded very recently in July of this year, and it was founded by some of my students who are really, really passionate about both history and literature. We've read 4 books so far. So the first was A History of the World in 6 Glasses. The second was Uncle Tom's Cabin. The third was Animal Farm. And our 4th book we read this last month was Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. Each month we meet in a seminar to discuss really what the book was all about. The girls come up with their own seminar questions. The book selections are made by our members, and then the genres can include anywhere from autobiographies, nonfiction, historical fiction, and pop culture. So as you can tell by our photo from this month's book club, we are loving life. This is really a blast for us. So too fun. I have one more slide, Mrs. Huebner, on the interdisciplinary project that we just did between the Social Science Department and the Drama program. So this year, our department collaborated with Drama to create an original production called The Suffrage Project. And it's really about the intersection of the abolition and women's suffrage movements and the passage of the 19th Amendment. And while we wrote it very much as a play, we sort of had to pivot early on, given the realities of COVID, and we shot the whole thing as a film while minding social distancing guidelines. It premiered last Friday to a wide audience who viewed it via live stream. And I think what we're really most proud of is that our students researched, wrote, edited, produced, and starred in it. So it was really their work. These were girls who began the week after classes ended last spring and worked all the way through summer into the fall semester, and were relentless in their pursuit of a project of which really we all could be very proud. So the drama director, Justin, and I co-created and edited it, and then he filmed and directed the actual film. It featured 19 scenes composed of primary source excerpts, along with fictionalized dialogue, as well as some soliloquies. While this women's suffrage movement is traditionally relegated to the margins of history books, in our retelling, the voices of the suffragists are really front and center. And this project, I believe, is an example of the transformative educational opportunities that OLP provides. And it gave our girls a chance to research history, to write history, and to make herstory.
Wonderful. And just so everyone knows, all of our guests on tonight did receive a link to access the suffrage project. So if you have not read that email that was sent out yesterday, I would encourage you, our guests, to do so that you can access that wonderful film that was created. So thank you, Mrs. Devereaux, Mrs. Kim, Dr. Gashow. We would like to open it up to any questions from our guests on these three wonderful departments. Again, that's English, Social Sciences, and World Languages. And Mrs. Devereaux, maybe you could explain, I know we'll be covering science next, but if they do not take world history in the 9th grade, what do they take, and then how does that path look?
Sure. So if they don't take world history their freshman year, they can choose to take that college prep world history class sophomore year or AP world history. So I would say that, we don't have any prerequisites for AP World, so we're all about access to AP courses. We want our students to try them. Oftentimes they will succeed in them. And so I would say that really those who take my AP World classes, they're just really, they're not afraid of a lot of reading. They don't mind taking notes on their own. They're curious about history. They've got pretty good, like I was mentioning before, pretty good time management skills, that sort of thing. So I would say that if there's even the littlest inkling of wanting to take an AP course, your sophomore year, AP World is a really, really great choice. We properly support you while you're taking your first AP class. So we're giving you all the important skills that you'll be really taking to use in subsequent AP classes, your junior and senior years. So thinking skills and writing skills. So I highly recommend AP World.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't see any questions in the chat, but thank you for adding your email addresses, all three of you. Ms. Kim, I oftentimes am asked, a student who is proficient in, let's just use Spanish as an example, what would you recommend as a path? Either sometimes we do have students who have gone as high as AP Spanish language in the 8th grade, and would you recommend switching languages? If you could just expand on a common question I receive.
Yes, no, and I have two good examples of exactly that case, and in this current year and the past, where they have taken the AP Spanish language and they still want to continue with Spanish or the same language. So they have decided to go into the natives track to get that exposure and immersion to the language. So that is something that has happened, and I encourage them, if they want to continue with the language, they can go into the natives track and then probably take the literature course and go in that route. Or if they want to change language, that is also another option that they have. They can start with French or explore ASL as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And Dr. Gashow, I think you were very clear on that English placement, and I really do encourage our prospective families to hear that you're not tracked in either the college preparatory level or the honors level. So if maybe you don't receive that English 1 honors placement in your 9th grade year, you certainly know that there's access to those classes in your sophomore year and so on. That is definitely a question that we are asked often when the placement isn't the honors placement that they were hoping for. Anything you were already so clear, but anything you'd like to expand on that?
I just think it's important for parents to understand we're pulling from a very, very, very large pool of, we pull from over 79 different zip codes. And so our goal their freshman year is to really lay the foundation and set them up for success. And our test scores are very high in the English department. And I credit it to that foundation and the careful scaffolding that we provide our students. But we really do encourage students, if they want to move into that honors track where they are not placed in the beginning, to work hard that freshman year, develop those skills so that they are ready for it their sophomore year. And we have many students who do that.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, there don't seem to be any questions in the chat, so I definitely encourage our prospective families to reach out via those email addresses. And you 3 are free to go for the evening. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we will move on to science, math, and STEM. Thank you all. And I will go ahead and share my screen again. And I will turn it over to Ms. Mayake.
Hi, good evening, welcome. So my name is Stephanie Maake, and I am the department chair for the science department. First, I want to introduce our wonderful science department. We have Mrs. Ann Wisnu, who teaches marine science and chemistry, Mary Kalina, who is our anatomy and physio and genetics teacher, and then we have 2 physical science teachers, Rita Lochran and Giovanna Gesh. All right, so just to start off with our mission statement, the mission of the science department at the Academy of Our Lady of Peace is to empower young women to be knowledgeable, scientifically literate, and technologically capable. As educators, we set high standards for our students by establishing a learning environment and academic programs that are engaging, collegiate, inquiry-based, hands-on, nurturing, Christ-centered, and in the CSJ tradition. And one of the important things that we at OLP have been working on is our diversity, equity, and inclusion. So our science department has come up with a DEI statement that you are free to read. But just the gist of it is we try and bring diversity, equity, and inclusion into each of our classes, and we each have a lesson on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our science department being all female, we really like to build up the young women that we have in our classes. Okay, so our science courses that we offer, and this kind of piggybacks on what Mrs. Devereaux was talking about. In 9th and 10th grade, the options are biology college prep or biology honors. So if a student decides to take science their freshman year, then they usually will take their world history or AP world history sophomore year. So that everything kind of fits in. Biology college prep and biology honors, it is based on their entrance exam, and this year we're not doing an entrance exam, but the placement is based on the incoming test that we'll be taking once they've already been admitted. And then in 10th and 11th grade, the requirements would be chemistry college prep or chemistry honors. And a lot like English, you're not set in a certain track. So if you start off with biology college prep and you end up really liking science and thinking that it is something that they want to go into further, and they were successful and feel that they can be successful in chemistry honors, they definitely are able to move into that chemistry honors. For the electives, we offer several different electives in science. Anatomy and physio, marine science, physics, environmental science, and we have an applied anatomy and physio class. And then we have several honors and APs. So genetics honors, AP bio, AP physics, AP chemistry, and AP environmental. We also, as a science department, offer several classes over the summer, which allows students to be able to take 4, 5, even 6 science classes if they know that that is really their passion. So those science summer school offerings are there for them. So for us, hands-on labs are really big, and we have these nice, new, beautiful labs to work in. So this is just an example of one of those labs. This is the genetics class working on a microscope lab. And then if you want to just keep clicking through the pictures. So this happens to be my classroom with a nice little balcony. They're working on an individual lab. And then we have our photosynthesis lab that we do in class. We can keep clicking. Yeah, this is just because of COVID, the reality is we had to do individual labs. And so here we have a pH lab being performed. And lastly, this is our cat dissection that our anatomy and physio class performs a cat dissection throughout the year. So they each get a cat and do several dissections throughout the year on that cat. I mentioned in our mission statement, science's inquiry is really important to us. So in each of our classes, we really do encourage our students to think outside of the box and really make observations about the world around us. And what I would say that in their time at OLP in their science classes, each student has the ability to design their own experiments based on their observations and really go through the process of trial and error. We realize that a lot of scientific discoveries have happened as a process of trial and error, and so we like to bring that into our students. And then field trips are a big part of the science department. Being in San Diego, we realize that this is such a rich scientific hub, and so we do like to take advantage of those resources outside. So I have just a few pictures, Ms. Hubner. This is a field trip to the San Diego Blood Bank, where the students are able to get their blood tested and learn all about blood harvesting. The next picture is a picture of us going to the safari park. Genetics honors and AP biology is able to lab there at the institute at the safari park. We had the opportunity to go to the La Jolla Institute for Immunology and take a tour of their facility. And then one more picture of us at Illumina, and all of the students were able to take advantage of the science that's going on at Illumina. So a couple other field trips, our marine class goes to the floating lab, the Salk Institute, and it was canceled last year, but there was a physics trip to Knott's Berry Farm. So we do like to take advantage of our outside opportunities. And then lastly, we have a bunch of science clubs or science-based clubs on campus, focused both in life sciences, women in science, and in engineering. We have the SHIP, Society of Women Engineers, and really we are all on women empowerment and how to get our numbers of women in the STEM fields higher. All right, I think that was my last one. So if you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you, Ms. Mayake. I now pass it over to Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Rodriguez, and I am honored to be the math department chair. I feel very privileged to be a part of this pretty incredible team of math teachers shown here. All of the math teachers at OLP are highly qualified and just incredibly approachable and patient and very passionate about inspiring and engaging the students in their classes. And I feel like I learned so much from them just from teaching alongside them. On the next slide, thanks. We have the math courses that we offer. All of our courses provide our students with a rigorous standard-based curriculum. We offer a variety of math courses to meet our students' needs, including both an honors and a college prep track, as well as several AP math courses. On the next slide, this course map shows the progression that students take through our math courses. All of our incoming freshmen take a math placement test. That test, in combination with 8th grade transcripts and teacher recommendations, help us place students in their 9th grade class. Students are placed either in beginning algebra, algebra 1, geometry, or geometry honors. And then you can see the progression through our courses from there. This course map, along with details about each of our classes, is provided on the school website if you would like to reference it later. On the next slide, we have some pictures just to give you an idea of what learning in an OLP math class looks like. We are very big on providing students with the opportunity to collaborate and support each other in their learning. All of our math teachers strive to provide our students with a classroom environment where they feel both supported and challenged. I do apologize that I only have pictures from previous years before social distancing. We also aim to challenge our students to think deeply and critically about the material that they're learning. We provide our students with the opportunity to apply what they're learning to real-world situations. Just some examples: in previous years, our students have explored vectors by constructing roller coasters out of connects. They've explored exponential and logarithmic functions by programming websites to calculate credit card payments and college loans and other finances. They've designed and raced CO2 dragsters and made calculations that impacted their construction. They've designed and built 3D scale models of affordable housing apartment complexes to help address the problem of homelessness in San Diego, and more. These are just a few examples of ways we've encouraged our students to apply what they're learning to something real. We also use a variety of tech tools in our classes to enhance student learning. Math Excel for School is an interactive math program that provides our students with immediate feedback on their homework and assessment problems. All of our math courses, except for our AP courses, currently use this program. In the middle, we have Edpuzzle. Several of our math teachers flip their classrooms using YouTube or Edpuzzle or both. And then over here we have Desmos. Several of our math teachers use Desmos, which is an awesome program with a lot of interactive and exploratory math activities. And I think that's my last slide. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. And Mr. Peluso, pass it to you.
Thank you very much, Erica. Hello and welcome. Last but certainly not least, the STEM department would welcome you tonight. You might have noticed that myself, Mr. Peluso being the STEM department chair, and Jim Cooney are both part of the math department as well. So we kind of work across multiple departments, but definitely what we lack in size, we make up for in excitement, and we're really excited to be part of this department and to grow it. You can go to the next slide if you can, Erica. Yeah, the courses that we have offered right now, again, the parameters, what we have definitely with our new COVID world. This year, our AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science A. Next year, we will be going back to offering the Intro to Biotech. And then also we have Principles of Engineering course that we are going to also continue to roll out, but we're going to do that the year after in the even numbered years. But those are the courses that we will be offering next year. Obviously, we're looking to expand and we're looking to get bigger and bigger, especially with a lot of the new buildings and the new sites and the new opportunities that we have with the construction and everything that we have with the new buildings. So that will definitely be coming in the soon years to come. One thing that we obviously always like to highlight is our robotics team. Our team 6885 is their team number. They go by the pilots, is the robotics team at OLP. They are one of only 30 all-female teams globally, and they're the first all-female team in Southern California. An awesome group of girls. Mr. Cooney runs the robotics team as well. They've done very, very well over the last 3 to 4 years, even making all the way to regionals in Texas and representing San Diego in that, and really, really proud, obviously, of those group of girls. Moving on to the next slide, some of the clubs we have, STEM related clubs that we have also cross with the science clubs as well. Obviously they're on the left-hand side, but one new club that I wanted to highlight was our All Girls STEM Society, which is a student-run nonprofit organization that really is built on encouraging young girls to really get into and pursue STEM fields. I think it goes toward our mission. I think it goes toward what we are as a school to really empower the young women and to empower them to maybe reach out of their box every once in a while and understand that there's a lot of opportunities for them, especially in the STEM field. And it's a club where they're really reaching out to the younger kids, younger students across San Diego. It's something where they host, I think, 1 or 2 monthly free STEM seminars for grades. I think it's 3 through 8. I know that it's something that a bunch of our students have done outside of school for a little while, and then they were really excited to bring it to the school, and this is the first year that we're offering it. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. I think their first event is actually this Sunday, so really excited for that. And then last, our STEM certificate program, which we also offer at OLP. It was established in 2015, and really the idea of this is to, again, encourage all of our young women that are at all interested in a STEM field, in a STEM future, and even if it's just something that they want to do for fun, even if it's just something that they want to do, that's like I said, outside of their realm of what they would normally be interested in. It's a certificate program that we have that. Honestly, it's changed a little bit this year. Again, COVID, not much we can do about it, where we can't obviously ask these girls to go out and get some internships and do the things that we would normally ask them to do. So they, and that's, again, something about the girls at our school and the young ladies at our school is that they don't, they roll along with the punches and they understand what's going on. And, I kind of switched it up on them a little bit this year. And again, they're good to go, and they're super excited about some of the opportunities that we have, seeing some of the speakers and doing some of the stuff on Zoom. So really proud of them. All of that stuff and the prerequisites and everything that we have is all on our OLP webpage. So you feel free to check that out. And then feel free also, I'll put my email in the chat to feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I know it can be a bit confusing at first, but we have it all set up and I can definitely answer any questions you have if you want to reach out to me.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Peluso, Ms. Mayake, Mr. Rodriguez. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight the 3 of you, and we'll see if we have any questions from our audience for science, mathematics, and STEM. Thank you for putting your email addresses in the chat. Again, you have prospective families, you have a lot of resources here, and as they've all mentioned, our website is very interactive, especially the curriculum guide page. You can click through to just about every course, see prerequisites, approximate homework time. It's really dynamic and informative. So I encourage you to access that. I actually did link that in the email that went out yesterday as well. So you have access to that. Are there any questions for these department chairs before we close out our evening? Any frequently asked questions that you all can think of? I know we mentioned placement, so I can just clarify that a little bit with not offering the HSPT during the application process. We will require it from all students who are admitted and choose to enroll at OLP. So that will be taken in late March, still pending, health guidelines prior to setting a date and determining whether it will be in person or online in some capacity. But that will help determine the placements for your 9th grade year, most particularly whether or not you take science and also your math placement as well as your English placement. So we're happy to field any questions regarding that as well. Okay, well, it doesn't seem as if we have any questions tonight. So I know that, as I said in the beginning, some of you have have been along this virtual journey with me the last several weeks, and certainly our academic team has been in this virtual world since March, and we just appreciate the patience that you have with any technical issues that we had in the beginning. We have one more virtual event tomorrow night, our pilot athletics night, and we do encourage you to join us for that. We will be utilizing breakout rooms for you to meet one-on-one with our head coaches. So if you have not registered for that event yet, we do encourage you to do so. And thank you all. Thank you for your affirmative words in the chat. And again, all of our department chairs have put their email addresses there in the chat, so I would encourage you to reach out to them with any specific questions. And otherwise, we will close out for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us.